Okay, Scott Coolbaugh I coached with the Texas Rangers organization, and is a third baseman. He played in the big leagues with the Rangers, the San Diego Padres, and St. Louis Cardinals. And
played college ball at Texas.
Okay, well, I'll go with that. Anyway, okay. Well, before Texas Rangers, it was Texas University. Okay,
Right.
All right. So he's been a hitting coach in big leagues with two or three teams: Baltimore, White Sox, and Tigers, and got him on to get some insight on what those major league coaches do. And Scott, can you take it from there, buddy?
Well, so how you guys doing today, Stan? And
Lark,
thanks for having me.
You bet.
We're having a good time. What we're looking for today is I'm curious about what those position coaches do. You know, you've got a bench coach, you got a pitching coach, you got a first base coach, third base coach. I mean, I coached first base when I was in high school, but I didn't see that as a possible career move. but I noticed there's some guys in the big leagues that are making a career out of coaching first base. There's got to be more to it than just telling runners to get back when the pitcher moves to first.
Yeah, definitely. It's like being a player, and like anything else, you have a routine, and most coaches, they get into the office or the field, which we call our office, obviously. Is sometimes earlier than 12, but usually around 12 or 1 o'clock every day. And there's always something that your side of it, you kind of do things that you have set up. And as far as me as the hitting guy, there's a lot of times that I'll look over video of our hitters, maybe some things that I've seen in, the last couple series that maybe they needed tweak some things. And I'll look over the pitchers for that series through video. I'll definitely game plan for the starting pitcher, some of the relievers that we may see in that night game based on who pitched the night before. So I get really prepared, before the day starts with everything, all the information that I need, so that when I go to the cage of the field, that I can really just get after work and just work with the players on an individual basis. But, after that, the clubhouses are set up so well now that they have, the cafeteria and food and service and things like that. So you grab a little lunch. You got to take advantage of that. As a coach, we got to fatten up a little bit. So we do that, and then the players will start filtering in around 2 o'clock. And a lot of them, that's when our early work will start to come into play around 3 o'clock every day. Whether it's infielders are out there and outfielders are doing drills or taking batting practice, we have an hour time slot that we usually use for those needs. And it's an individual based type thing. And, they're out there periodically. Sometimes it's more than others. But, that timeline is for them. And during that time, there'll be guys coming down to the batting cage, indoor cages. Last year, with the Tigers, we had 2 cages. And guys will start doing their routines, their pregame routines, where they go out before batting practice, things of that nature. That's a lot of the tee work. We'll do flips. We'll do machines. We have machines set up in both cages. We can do breaking ball. We can do fastball machine. And it's pretty time consuming because, you usually have around 12 guys on the roster. And, there's occasional time when you have a guy that's on the DL or the IL, I should say now, that are in the mend and they're maybe coming back. So you have, quite a few guys to take care of in a short period of time. And then after that, right before batting practice, a lot of times, some teams are a little different, but before batting practice or after batting practice, what we do is an advance meeting with the hitters, and we'll go over and talk about the pitcher that night. We'll talk about pitch movements, the type of pitches he throws. We'll talk about how to attack him, what we need to do. And of course, that's not always executed as you see on television. So the hitting coaches look like they never really say anything. But, we do go through all that information and, get those guys to kind of talk and elaborate a little bit on right-hand hitters, left-hand hitters facing maybe a right-hand pitcher that night or a left-hand pitcher that night. And then, get into – you have a little bit of about a 45-minute break. You grab something to eat before the game, and then the guys come back down to the cage, and we do a pregame routine, whether it's, maybe some live arm where the coach throws a little bit overhand in the cage. Some guys will just do a flip. Some guys will do some machine, and then just get prepped for the game, and then we have the game. So afterwards, after the game, we kind of as a group, as the coaching staff, you usually grab a little bite or something and you kind of reflect on that night's game a little bit. What could have done differently, maybe what we saw, what was good about it, and reflect, and then go into the next game with a fresh mindset.
Scott,
and that's kind of what our day is.
Okay, I got a question for you. You come in early and you're looking at hitters and what where you're seeing where they might be strong in one area and not so strong in another area. Do y'all look at video for the opposing hitters so the pitchers can get an idea of where their strengths and weaknesses are, or who does that if they do it?
Yeah, the pitching coaches will do that. Every team has an analytic team that puts together what we call heat maps, and heat maps are show the cold and hot spots of where a hitter handles the ball on different pitches, whether it be the fastball, breaking ball, two different type of breaking balls. He may hit the curveball, but he doesn't hit the slider. The locations
that's
of those.
That's on pitch count too, right?
Yeah, it's everything you need. Any count, just overall. A lot of times they'll look at certain counts, like early in the count, 0-0 count, what he really hammers, and where he's looking. Stay away from those areas in the blue. And so they have their game plan, and that's what they do on the pitching side. They'll have their meetings just like we do as hitters, and it's all works really quick, and it's done before the series has ever started by the analytic team, and we pretty much know what the pitch movements and their pitches that they really go to in certain counts and overall. And the thing about that is you can get as technical and you can have as much information as you want, and you can be as smart as you want, but when you step in the box and it gets into the game and their motions and the crowd noise, like, you have to have clarity and you have to trust in your abilities and what you do well. Some of these things that you do over time become instinctive and facing that pitcher multiple times. So obviously the guy that faced the pitcher 50 times definitely has the advantage over the guy that's faced him the first time.
I got it. How much does the analytics come into play early when they throw the heat map on you, as so to speak?
Well, I think the analytics is just just kind of a generalized form. I mean, as a coach, your eyes, you can tell where most of these guys, where they have a weakness. This is just kind of reaffirming what your eyes are telling you.
Right.
And basically saying, okay, here it is. I'm just not telling you that this guy's not handling the pitch down and away, or he's not hitting the breaking ball. This is also showing that he's not handling the breaking ball. And so you see it from the visual standpoint as well as the verbal coming from the coach. So, you hit them from both sides of it, and you hope, again, there's certain pitchers that have strengths, and they're going to stick to their strengths, whether you see certain heat maps or not. So, there's a fine line of just throw your breaking ball to this guy the whole time. Well, that may not be that pitcher's strength, and he can really, command a fastball or get swing and miss at the top of the zone with a fastball. He may not throw that breaking ball as much. But somebody else that doesn't have the type of stuff, he may say, hey, look, this is my out. When things get tough and I know that I need to have something in my arsenal, I can go to the breaking ball.
During the game itself, as the hitting coach, what are your duties during the game itself?
Well, in the game itself, it's just more keeping guys confident. You don't want to have a lot of noise going in the brain too much. A lot of guys are, they'll want to go to mechanics and when you do that, you start getting to a point where you start going down a rabbit hole and you're thinking about where your hands are and your feet are, and you're not really picking up the ball and competing. So, a lot of it is just encouragement, get them the next time. Hey, you put a good swing on that ball. Hey, you hit that ball hard. Hey, erase that at bat, get your game plan ready for the next at bat. More of the encouragement in the competing part of the game is really what you're there for. Obviously, when there's pitching changes made or something that may have been changed, in other words, you went into the game thinking he's going to throw fastballs more than he's going to throw his breaking ball, and all of a sudden he starts breaking out his breaking ball because he's got a feel for it that night. Well, it may be one of those things where you walk down, hey guys, look, recognize he's using that breaking ball quite a bit, or recognize, he's not able to land the breaking ball in the zone. Let's eliminate that pitch. So more of game plan stuff than it is, hey, you really opened up on that pitch. Keep your shoulder closed, or keep your, you don't want to put too much in their head from the actual competition. What we try to do is analyze that afterwards and then try to tweak that when there's no competition going on, and they can really kind of concentrate on that in their pregame and their BP, and then try to trust that to go into the game for the next day.
So what I'm hearing is you're focusing more on just, you hit that ball really good, stay with it, hard contact, as opposed to let's get a hit. I mean, that's unrealistic when you can't control it.
Sure. That's the one thing is you don't want to get them so deep into it where a negative end of it keeps creeping in their head, because it's such a negative game, right? 3 out of 10 times we're failing. 7 out of 10 times we're failing. So, it's easy to go down that road to find something wrong all the time. Right. And, I think that these guys have to understand the fact that, the matter is like, if I stick with it, stay in the moment, trust my abilities, trust that I can go out there and compete against that guy on the mound. Usually they come out ahead. When they don't come out ahead is when they start second guessing. They're unsure of themselves. They don't know what they're doing in the box. They're not seeing the ball well. Like, all these thoughts keep creeping in their head, and next thing you know, the failure starts to set in, and the failure starts to creep in, and then the doubt, and and that's when you're in a bad place as a hitter. That's where slumps come into play, and getting them out of those slumps is very difficult. When they're not in a slump, they have complete clarity when they get in the box. It's see ball, hit ball, and they trust themselves. They don't worry about if the umpire calls a strike on them. They don't worry about if they swung and missed at a bad pitch. They don't worry about if they swung and fouled off a pitch. They know that they're going to have something positive come out in that next at bat.
One other question I have concerning the coaches that are, in a major league game. There's a bench coach. What is his duties other than just be the extra set of eyes and ears for the manager?
Well, in today's game, we have replay and so much stuff going on. So usually the bench coach takes care of like replay situations to relay that message to the manager, whether we should challenge or not challenge. He's there for, somebody to bounce off ideas of whether they would maybe make a change with a double switch. It could be pinch hitting in a certain situation. It could be bringing in a pitcher, possibly maybe running in a certain situation. A lot of things that are in game. It's just more of the manager kind of maybe bounces some things off, and him being his kind of go-to guy that he feels confident that he's not going to get in the way of too much of his decision making, but giving him some, quick insight based on information that he may have. And that's really what he's there for.
Well, that double switch situation might be a thing of the past with everybody going to DH.
Right. And then that's, to be honest with you, we, in Detroit this year, we had situations where the DH had to end up, pitching, and that comes into play.
Oh,
where
there you go. I see.
You've had some situations where a double switching has actually happened. Now it's not like it used to be in the National League, obviously without the DH, and you're absolutely right that the DH has taken away that thought. But nowadays they're more and more apt to use a position player than burn their bullpen, and those situations come into play at times.
Yeah, that's where you do that. I understand that now. Well, Scott, listen, I know you're busy out there at the winter meeting, so we're gonna say so long, but we sure do appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight in what goes on in Major League coaching staff.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. And anytime you ever have anything to ask, don't be hesitate to call.
You bet.
I give you as much insight and info as I can.
You bet.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, take care.
That is our time for this episode of A Visit to the Mound. Many thanks to our special guest, Scott Coolbaugh, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments or anything you would like for us to cover, we would love to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Visit to the Mound, or visit us online at avisittothemound.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review this podcast, and be listening the next time we make A Visit to the Mound. That'll wrap up this visit to the mound. We certainly appreciate you joining us today for a little baseball talk. Anytime you want to hear something about baseball, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com for the next edition of A Visit to the Mound.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.